What up, everybody? Going into the final episode of BMF Season 4, there's 5 key storylines. First being the collision course about to take place in Atlanta, as Meech and T go back to Atlanta from California with all their enemies waiting for them. Bryant, Lamar, and B-Mickie. There's the funeral scene we've been speculating all season about whose funeral they're showing in this particular scene. There's the conflict between Meech and T that's been going on all season. That's ultimately a result of what happened in Mexico, which we'll also see the conclusion of in episode 10. And also what happens next after Boom tried killing Keisha at the end of episode 9. So today I'm going to talk about the collision course in Atlanta that I think will ultimately lead to the funeral scene. As Meech and T go back to Atlanta to try to resolve the issues that they have there to get the green light from Manuel to open that pipeline back up again. One of the problems they have is B-Mickie. The trailer has Terry telling Meech that they need to figure out what they're going to do next. And Meech responding telling T that they're going to handle this once and for all. And also notice as we get to the final episode of Season 4, and with Meech returning from LA, he returns with a new look, now with his hair braided. In addition to everything else going down in Atlanta this episode, Hoop has also made his way to Atlanta. And at this point, with everything that's happened, is probably the only person that Meech and T both still trust. Keep it in mind when Meech and T were arguing in episode 9. Meech mentioned that T was so desperate for people, that's why he had to hire B-Mickie again, because nobody wants to work for him. And T told Meech that all his people were either dead or in prison. And with that said, the trailer also shows Hoop face to face with B-Mickie, telling him that he don't want to die or wind up in jail. But B-Mickie got a whole lot of worries right now, and BMF is the least of them. He's also on the move trying to stay a step ahead of Detective Bryant after they found the gun he killed Laz with in his hotel room. But he also has to worry about Lamar, who has his wife Aisha and his daughter V. And the trailer has B-Mickie on the phone with Lamar, telling him that he's going to meet up with T, and Meech will be there also. So every side's plotting right now. Meech and T are trying to set up B-Mickie, but they don't know they're about to be ambushed by Lamar in the process. But at the same time, we got to believe that B-Mickie has some kind of plan right now, so he can make sure his wife and daughter make it out alive. And it's all going down in some kind of abandoned store with mannequins and a for sale sign. It shows T with his gun drawn. It shows Hoop, B-Mickie looking surprised, Lamar holding Aisha in front of him while firing his gun, and Meech firing his gun, most likely back at Lamar. So this is almost a parallel situation to what happened at the end of Season 1 when Meech and B-Mickie faced off with Lamar. And at that point, Lamar put B-Mickie's first love interest, Kato, in front of him, pointing his gun at her, before Meech let Lamar know that they didn't care about that rat. It would be B-Mickie ultimately killing Kato, who was pregnant with his child, a decision B-Mickie still regrets, and is part of the reason why he wanted to get revenge against Meech in the first place. So ultimately, B-Mickie's revenge puts his wife and the mother of his daughter in the same line of fire. But at the same time, there's still one more side in the picture during this collision course, and that's Detective Bryant and the Atlanta PD. And the trailer also shows Detective Bryant and several other cops swarming a crime scene. And I'm thinking this is most likely the same abandoned store where Meech, B-Mickie, T, Hoop, and Lamar are having the shootout at. But if Bryant and Atlanta PD are at the same store, the big question is, how did they get the info that was the spot where everything was going to be going down? I think it's most likely that B-Mickie turned to Detective Bryant and was willing to cooperate with him, desperately trying to get his daughter back from Lamar. Because B-Mickie will be desperate to do whatever he has to do, also knowing that he needs a plan, because Lamar's crazy and most likely doesn't intend on letting anybody live except B-Mickie's daughter V. Even Aisha is a witness and could identify Lamar if he let her go. Because of that, I think B-Mickie will turn to Detective Bryant to cooperate with him to try to get both his daughter and wife out of the store alive, but also trying to complete his plan of taking down Meech and Terry one way or another. Meech might have also foreshadowed B-Mickie and Bryant working together in episode 9 when he first found out that B-Mickie was back in the mix, and he questioned if B-Mickie and Bryant were working together. And because the fact we know there's a funeral, I'm thinking the funeral most likely comes after the shootout. That would mean Hoop survives, and we already know that Meech and T will survive. So it could possibly be B-Mickie's funeral that they're at. And now because the episode 10 trailer shows Ashley with Meech at this funeral, we know everybody who's shown in the original funeral image. Meech, T, Charles, Lucille, Hoop, Breeze, Nicole, their baby, Tina, and Ashley. And I'm going to continue to speculate it's B-Mickie's funeral specifically because of the fact that Nicole and Breeze are in attendance, and also because Lucille's crying and so emotional. But if it's at the beginning of the episode, it could potentially be Purdy or Laz's funeral. But like I said, I don't think Lucille would be reacting like that to Purdy or Laz's death, and Nicole and Breeze most likely wouldn't even be at their funeral. Also keep in mind, going back to season 2 when B-Mickie initially wore the wire for Bryant, Meech told him that he paid for B-Mickie's mother and Kato's burial, and told B-Mickie that he could be buried there too if he wants. So I think that foreshadowed B-Mickie ultimately getting buried in the same area that his mom and Kato were buried. And now that we know more of what's going to happen, other than the fact there's going to be a funeral, I think B-Mickie will get killed by Lamar, saving his wife Aisha in the process. I think he'll shoot out with Lamar to where he helps Meech, Terry, and Hoop get away without getting caught by Bryant also, ultimately diving, saving his wife from Lamar, and helping Meech, T, and Hoop get away. Because at the end of the day, he knows that Bryant has at least one murder he's holding against him, and potentially could have multiple. Another Easter egg going back to season 2, when B-Mickie was supposed to help Bryant the first time when he wore the wire, but had to change her heart and help Meech get away. I'm thinking something similar will happen in the finale. Then Lamar will take B-Mickie out right as Bryant and the Atlanta PD are coming in, and will either arrest Lamar or kill him in the shootout. Keep it in mind that Bryant's been in the win column since the end of season 3, when him and Jen took down Henry and the police corruption in Detroit, and he continued his momentum into season 4, taking down Duffy, Laz, and the raids of the BMF stash houses. So if Bryant gets a big win at the end of season 4, it will most likely be taking down Lamar or possibly B-Mickie, because we know that he won't get the W and take down Meech and T until later on in the timeline. And that would be the end of the story for both B-Mickie and Lamar moving forward, if the show's even renewed for the 5th season, because they still haven't announced whether that's going to happen or not. But the trailer did say the season finale and not the series finale. But with that said, it does look like they're accelerating the story a little. So if it's renewed for a 5th season, I think that will be the final season. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.